Breaking now, Donald Trump has threatened to impose a massive 50% tariff on Brazilian exports, targeting steel, soybeans, and beef. Brazil is firing back, warning of economic retaliation as tensions escalate. What triggered this sudden move, and how far could this trade fight go? Watch the full video to get the complete report and what it means for U.S.-Brazil relations.
Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine waking up to news that your country is facing a staggering 50% tariff on its goods from a major trading partner. 50%.
Wow.
That's the reality for Brazil right now, following the latest, series of letters from President Donald Trump.
And it's not just Brazil.
No, exactly. This isn't an isolated incident. He's unleashed, a torrent of 22 letters to nations worldwide this week, unilaterally announcing sweeping new tariffs on their goods, all slated to hit on August 1st. So what on earth is truly going on here?
This is the deep dive, and our mission today is really to cut through those headlines. We want to give you a clear understanding of this, unprecedented wave of tariff threats. We'll unpack the specifics, look at their stated purpose versus, their actual economic impact, and we'll try to reveal how different nations are navigating this complex landscape. What's remarkable here isn't just the sheer volume, but the very pointed nature of these threats. It's not solely about trade balances. It really delves into that intricate web of foreign policy, economic leverage, and maybe what these tariffs are truly designed to achieve.
And Brazil seems like the perfect place to start because that 50% figure is quite the headline grabber.
It really is.
Our source material calls it an escalation of his fight with the South American country. And Trump's stated reasons? Well, they include accusations of attacks on U.S. tech companies and conducting a witch hunt against the former president, Jair Bolsonaro, who's accused of trying to overturn their 2022 election.
It's certainly an intriguing choice of target, especially when you think about what economist Hoseki Makiyama calls the magic number.
The magic number?
Yeah, he observes that 50% seems to be the figure Trump uses when he wants to, quote, threaten countries from which he expects a little bit more, signaling, engagement rather than anything else.
Engagement, so not just punishment.
Apparently not purely punishment. And what makes it even more of an odd story, as Makiyama puts it, is that the U.S. actually runs a significant trade surplus against Brazil.
Right, that's the detail that jumps out.
Exactly. And they're partners in numerous strategic areas, too, so this isn't your typical trade dispute scenario.
That's a crucial distinction, then. It seems like the standard trade imbalance argument doesn't fully explain Brazil's situation.
Not entirely, no.
So if trade isn't the main driver, what deeper geopolitical forces might be at play here?
Well, this is where you have to look at the broader global chessboard, right? Brazil's membership in the BRICS countries.
Okay.
And their very controversial statement with regards to the attack on Iran by U.S. and Israel, that provides some really critical context. It strongly suggests that while trade is the sort of public-facing reason, the underlying foreign policy alignments, strategic positions, those are significant factors, maybe even dominant factors in this case. It feels less about pure economics and more about leverage,
That certainly makes the odd story of the trade surplus make a lot more sense. Okay, so beyond Brazil, we've got these 22 letters, tariffs looming August 1st. But as we sort of peel back another layer here, there's a fascinating detail in the letters themselves that might challenge our whole assumption about their purpose.
Indeed. There's a key line within the letters. It offers a really profound insight, I think. They indicate the U.S. will perhaps consider changing the tariff rates depending on our relationship with your country.
Ah, so there's wiggle room.
Exactly. That's not the language of an immutable edict set in stone. It sounds much more like a highly sophisticated negotiating tactic.
Designed to open doors.
Yes, designed to open doors for discussions, perhaps extract concessions, not just simply impose new taxes. It's like an invitation to the bargaining table.
Albeit a rather forceful one.
A very forceful one, yes.
And when we talk about imposing taxes, Trump's stated goal is always, to ramp up production and manufacturing in the U.S. But the economic reality for you, the consumer, is often a bit different, isn't it?
It's absolutely vital for you to understand this part. Tariffs are, at their core, their taxes on imports. Simple as that. These taxes get paid by the firm or the person importing the goods for sale in the U.S.
Right.
And while in the vast majority of cases, those sellers just pass these increased costs directly on to you, the consumer.
So it hits our wallets.
Directly. The research group Yale Budget Lab estimates that the average U.S. consumer is already facing something like a 17% consumption tax from these tariffs, which they point out is the highest in 9 decades.
9 decades, wow.
Yeah, it really shows the tangible impact these policies can have on, your everyday living costs.
That's a vital point for our listeners.
Yeah.
So with that context, how are the markets reacting to this new wave of threats? Because I remember after Trump's April 2nd Liberation Day tariff announcement, there was massive market turmoil. Is it the same story this time?
Surprisingly, no, this week. Not so much turmoil. The S&P actually rebounded after just 2 days of losses.
Really?
Well, it was significantly buoyed by tech giant NVIDIA reaching just a staggering market cap of $4 trillion.
$4 trillion.
Yeah, and other AI-driven tech stocks were also rising. But the market's relative calm, compared to past turmoil, it offers a pretty profound insight, I think. It seems the financial world might have started to decode Trump's unique trade playbook.
So they see it differently now.
It seems like it, recognizing these threats, maybe not as final punitive edicts, but as opening gambits in a negotiation. The shift in market perception is really critical, I think. It signals maybe a new era in global economic signaling.
Okay, so we've seen the power of these threats, how markets are maybe starting to interpret them differently. But amidst all this global economic tempest, there's been a curious calm in one pretty significant corner, the European Union. While other nations are bracing for impact, Brussels seems to have found a different path. It's an intriguing exception. What was their strategy? How did they avoid the brunt of this new offensive?
Yeah, this is where those insights from Hosukli Makiyama, the Brussels-based economist and trade lawyer, become really crucial again. He's reporting on a possible deal between the EU and the U.S., Apparently, EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen had a phone call with Donald Trump back in early June.
Okay.
And it was described as relatively smooth sailing. It sounds almost like a masterclass in high-stakes negotiation.
So what was the EU's masterstroke then? What did they offer that maybe other countries didn't think of?
Well, the message seems to have been quite successful. The EU apparently came back with a pretty unexpected counteroffer. They proposed they could either pay the new tariffs or increase the defense spending.
The defense spending angle.
Exactly. And it was apparently pretty clear that it's more in the interest of the United States to accept the increased defense spending.
Interesting calculation.
Very.
Yeah.
And the outcome appears to be a kind of temporary deal, plateauing around 10% tariffs against the increased defense spending that has now been announced at the NATO summit 2 weeks ago.
So a trade-off.
A direct trade-off. Now, there are still some minor outstanding issues, apparently, especially on increased sectoral tariffs that hit European exports. But a framework seems to be in place.
That's a really profound lesson, isn't it? The EU was, like you said previously, faced with a tweet saying that we could be facing 50% tariffs.
Mm-hmm.
And that threat is exactly what drove them to devise this defense spending versus lower tariff plan.
Mm-hmm.
It really underscores this idea that these tariffs aren't always a final decree. Often they're a starting point for strategic negotiation and leverage.
Precisely. It demonstrates a clear precedent for negotiation rather than just outright imposition. And that raises an important question for other nations, doesn't it? What can be learned from the EU's proactive, strategic approach in navigating these kinds of threats?
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you, listening right now? Understanding these dynamics, it isn't just about tracking daily news headlines. It's about recognizing how global economic strategies intersect with political leverage, and ultimately how those ripples can affect everything, from international relations right down to the price of goods you buy at the store.
Yeah, absolutely.
And maybe the final thought to leave you with is this. If these tariffs are indeed primarily negotiating tactics, how does this shift redefine traditional diplomacy, and what are the long-term implications for countries and, well, for you as we all try to navigate our economic futures in this changing landscape?
Thanks for watching Global Mind News. If you found this report helpful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. We bring you the facts, insights, and updates that matter, straight from the source. See you in the next report.